All right, hello everyone. So happy Wednesday, happy hump day. It's such a beautiful day in Las Vegas. Um, Sorry we're on here much later today. We actually went swimming, and I had a great time, really good time swimming. And it is day 21, no alcohol. So I don't know if you guys noticed, it's new shorts are just as terrible. I don't like shorts. I don't like how they look. So they always look retarded. Oh, no, they're not supposed to use that word. They always look silly on me. So yeah, but these are Hurley. I like Hurley. That's my new swimsuit. The one I've been wearing, the black one. It's not that new. It's got like almost a year ago now. The one I've been wearing. I seem to like that brand, but I don't know about these shorts. But I have another pair of shorts coming too, because it's Amazon Prime Day today. So we ordered a couple of things that we've been needing, and one thing I've been needing is a couple of pairs of shorts. You guys know. But anyways, so today we've had the best day. We went to the pool with Gloria. That was really fun, and I swam some laps, and I'm kind of okay. So when people were like, I think critiquing like my swimming, yeah, I'm not a good swimmer. I actually, when I was young, I was taught to swim when I was very young, and so I was never gonna drown in any time in my life. But I've just never been like a good swimmer. Like I don't know how to like lap swim really, like where you do the breaststroke. I'm just like I didn't really know. I'm sure I was taught when I was young, but I mean, I kind of do, but I wasn't very good at it. So Richard is really good at swimming. So he taught me a couple years back, but then I'd gotten really bad at it because I hadn't done it in a long time. So today I finally actually swam more properly. We're like, oh, that's how you swim. That feels a lot better. You're just like dying, choking for water. So it was a really good experience, and I'm feeling really good. It really helps being day 21. And I am going to New York November 6th.
Yeah, you got some new shorts.
Yeah, I know. So you guys, I got these from Amazon. They're Hurley, the same as my bathing suit, the black one. I like that brand because so I've always liked the brand Roxy or like Billabong or because I'm from California, and so I like the skater or the surfer kind of brands. So I've always loved Roxy. That's like one of my favorite. And I used to live like Hollister, that was kind of where I shopped. And it's really hard on Amazon to get shorts that I like because I don't like when they fan out, and they all do that. So you either gotta have them be really tight, which I don't always want really tight shorts, but if they're not tight, then they go woof, where you have so these ones are, so then I gotta pull in the back, but then that's why I pull them up, and everyone's like, well, when my underwear is showing, whatever, but it's because I can't stand when they go like that. But anyways, they're all right. I like the material because it's like a material that can get wet, It's better for working out. The other one was like cotton, those little polka dot ones. But I'm still not loving these. So I have another pair of shorts coming, and I don't know, in a couple of days. So they had Amazon Prime Day today, and I really needed to get some shorts, and I also got myself a pair of jeans, and I'm so excited because these jeans were regularly $99, and I'm getting them for, I believe, $27. Because I don't know if you guys know, today is today, and I don't know how many days it is, the Amazon Prime Day, but you get insane deals. So I was like, that I'll pay for. I'm not paying $100 for a pair of jeans, but you can't get a nice pair of jeans really for $20, unless they're on sale. Does that make sense? You kind of need a little better quality, because I've tried to get the cheaper stuff, and I don't like it. But when I get it, when it's marked down, then I'm excited. So I'm gonna do my little workout today. I did swim, so I have already worked out today, and I felt really good. And we laid out for quite a while too, so I'm getting a pretty good tan. But the problem is I'm wearing a one piece because I did not. Everyone thought I enjoyed going over there in my bikini and stuff. This is all I had, and I want to go to the pool last year, but I never enjoyed that. It's super awkward, and everyone's give me weird looks and stuff. And then the older men are probably checking me out, but the the ladies are, what are you wearing out of this pool? Because this is a retirement community, you know, it's just all older people, and I'm probably the youngest person that ever goes to that pool. And I'm 40, and that's the youngest, you know. But anyways, feels much better wearing the one piece. But even this one piece is pretty high cut, and even then I'm kind of like, I pull it down, you know, out of my, you know, butt and, you know, your crotch when you stand up, before I stand up, so make sure it's not like, it's a high cut. I didn't know the cut of it. I just got it from Amazon. I didn't notice. I haven't bought that many one pieces, not since I was young. I don't think I've had a one piece since I was young, to be honest. I think I had one, maybe. But I've always just worn, you know, more like a sporty bikini, not like a string bikini. But right now all I have is a string bikini and there's like Victoria's Secret ones, which I think the one time they were like, is that even a swimsuit? Because it does look like it's a bra. It's a Victoria's Secret swimsuit, but the top of it looks like a Victoria's Secret bra. Like it has like the wire and stuff so you are like boosted up. And I think they were like, is she even wearing a swimsuit? The one time I went, I think it was like last year. But now, the bummer is when you have the one piece, I can't tan my stomach. And I don't want to switch. We're just like, oh, just switch into a bikini. I'm like, no, it's the whole thing. It's awkward being in the bikini in the retirement community pool. Like, but yeah, okay, so we're going to LA next weekend. Not this weekend, the next one. So, and then I go to New York, I think, was it basically like the weekend after that or something like that? I'm gonna leave on a Thursday. No. Yeah, Thursday or Friday? I think it's Friday. I can't remember. I think it's Friday. I can't remember if it's Thursday or Friday. I think it's Thursday. Thursday. I used to leave on Wednesday, but that seemed like too much downtime because the best days are the weekends. That's why when I'm going to LA, it's perfect because we're just going for the weekend. But when I go to New York, I'm not going to go all the way to New York just for a weekend. So I try to have at least 2 weekends, you know what I mean, in the 2 weeks. Otherwise, to make it a little more worthwhile of going, if you're going all the way to New York. That's why I don't think I'm going to go again. So I'm pretty excited about this. I'm starting to feel really a lot more enthusiastic about life because as much as I love New York, like I kept saying I loved going to New York and I did, you know, at first I didn't want to go, but then once I started going, I didn't want to stop going because I don't know, I felt like I would be really sad not going to New York. But I think I just needed to go somewhere, if that makes sense. So I think it was like the thought of like always being in Vegas sounded not good to me. But now when me and Richard are going to California, which is where I'm from, I'm a California girl, and I feel it feels even better than New York because I'm from California. My mom is from New York, but I'm from California. So like California feels actually better to me. I mean, I just feel really at home. And I had not been to California since 2012. And, you know, I lived there for 17 years, you know, I was born there and didn't leave till I was 17. So it was weird to not ever go back. So I'm really loving it. And it's really good to be with Richard. I mean, it was like, I think in my mind, I thought like going to New York was like, oh, maybe I need space for my husband, but I think I just needed to do something. Does that make sense? Like just go somewhere. So like me and Richard love road tripping together, and we used to travel a lot together. So we actually just kind of went right into like travel mode like we had in the past, and it was the most fluent, like beautiful trip that we just had of just like, I mean, everything, like, because it just kind of worked out like the things I brought, because I really try to, I'm a really good packer, but this was a really last minute thing. And if you guys know, I'm like, actually, oh my gosh, I have nightmares before I go to New York or a big trip that I didn't pack, or that I'm like not gonna get packed and like miss my flight. And I pack like weeks in advance, you know what I mean? Like I'm already partially packed for New York. Actually, I don't unpack anymore. And actually, that made it easy for going to LA. I was gonna say, because I had so many of my stuff. What is wrong with my Not today. I'm pretty stoned. I'll tell you guys with the weed. It's pretty good. I already had so much of my stuff packed for New York, and then I realized I can just take most of that to LA too. Like, because most of my stuff is things like, okay, deodorant, okay, toothpaste, a toothbrush. Like, I keep all this stuff already ready. I have extras, and I have like, it's a small deodorant. I have the travel size stuff. I have like all my like the things that you fill up. I fill them when I get home from New York, so they're already ready. And then I have like, all my little like beauty products. I've now made sure I have like 2 since I go to New York so often. So I didn't want to have to pack it every time. So I'll have like, 2 face creams or something like that. One for home and one that's already packed. So it made it really nice where I was just like, oh, I'll just bring this same stuff. And then we only went for, it was Friday we left, and then we came back Sunday. So it wasn't a lot of clothes needed. But
don't forget to tell people to hit the like.
oh yeah, hit the likes, please, if you guys could, and subscribe if you haven't yet. I would love that. The Healthy Family Force here, HFF. Hello everybody. I hope everyone is having a good day. We've had the best day. This weather is absolutely fabulous. It feels a lot like California when it's like this. You feel like you're on the coast in California. Whereas during the summer here, it's not so pleasant. That's why I don't really even like going to the pool during the summer here, because, okay, I'm Irish, Scottish, and I have just a tiny bit of Native American is the only reason why I can tan. Otherwise, I would be like burnt to a crisp, and I wouldn't even want to be out in the sun. Like, that's how my mom was, because she had red hair and the whitest, fairest skin, And the only thing that saves me a bit where I can actually tan is that I have a little bit of Native American. But I still have those other things that are primary, so I can't spend very long in the sun. Like, I get very ill, and I will burn at some point. But what's nice is this time of year I can spend longer. But when it's like really intense here, I literally can only be out there for 15 minutes, and I'm like, Rich, we gotta go inside. And there's times that I've stayed too long, and I become like a lobster. I mean, it's ridiculous too, because it'll be like, you have your bikini, because I was wearing a bikini then, so it looks like you still have a bikini on, but it looks like it's a white bikini, and then the rest of your body's just red. And I would have to work like that. It would be so embarrassing with like that ridiculous tan line of you just like red, and then the spots that you had your swimsuit, maybe wherever it goes on the straps, it's just like completely like a different color. Like, oh, and it hurts. So what's great is if I just go out for a little bit, that doesn't happen to me. But my mom couldn't be out in the sun at all, because she didn't have any Native American. She was just primarily Irish. All right, ready for push-ups? Okay. Richard has to come out and help move the cameras for me. So I'm gonna start with the push-ups now. Excuse me, let me take a drink of water. I don't know how the push-ups are gonna go today, because I did already swim. And I actually swam pretty good today. Like, I'm pretty proud of myself for I did, well, I don't do like full laps, but like Richard counts a lap as going there and back. I count a lap as going just there. So I did 6 laps of just going there, and 4 of them were the breaststroke, and 2 of them were the frog one, which is the easier one. I didn't go with the butterfly today. I was like, no, that one's so difficult, and it makes so much commotion because I'm not good at it. So you're like a little kid like making a huge splash, but there's all these senior citizens trying to just like be like kind of like, and you're like, because I'm really bad, and it's like, and so I don't really like to do that one. If I was good, I'm sure I wouldn't make such a commotion. But I'm horrible at it.
I love your
when I tried it.
No,
let me take these glasses off for a minute. Oh, and I'm got some swollen eyes from the goggles, so I don't know what to do about that. I'm like, Rich, I don't think I can swim I try to put a little bit of, but underneath, the goggles go right here. So I don't know how people deal with that if they're swimmers with the goggles.
Damn, I wish I could go swimming right now in New Jersey.
Because me and Rich are going to maybe look into, in the future, getting maybe a membership somewhere else, because we don't want to pay. They want $1,000 a year per person here to get, for us to all 4 have a thing,
Carlos P says hi.
Oh, hello, Carlos. Hello. Okay, let me try to do my 20 push-ups here. They're not going to be perfect, okay? I used to be really good at push-ups, but ever since these New York trips, I need to maybe pull my shorts down a little bit, because the problem is I don't like them fanning out, but then if I pull them up too much, it's just all granny panty underwear. Don't worry, I got granny panty underwear, so no one's gonna see anything. Remember my Hanes organic cotton bikini briefs, I think they're called. Those are the best. I need to get another pack of those before I go to New York. Oh, we should see if they're on sale today, Rich.
Yeah, definitely look. All that stuff. I'm looking at my eyes on polo shirts.
1,
Maybe even a little
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Looking strong, Jedi Joy.
8, 9,
You got this, babe.
11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18,
Happy Wednesday.
19, 20. The last 5 were pretty bad. Whew. It's hard after you swim.
Oh, hell no. $1,000 a person for a year?
Oh, dear.
Hell no, $1,000.
Yeah, no, we're not doing that. So we'd rather just go maybe go like Bally's or 24 Hour, whoever else has a pool. Yeah.
Well, the pool makes it like $30 a month.
Yeah, most of if you have a pool, yeah, they're usually more expensive. Well, remember LVAC was only like $19 a month.
LVAC, though.
But that was a pain in the ass. Man, that place was becoming really
They had a shooting.
way too many people there. It was hard to get a machine when we used to go several years back, so I imagine it only got busier. Okay. I'm gonna do 200 crunches. I'm a little out of breath after that, like those push-ups, you guys. I was a little hard after, like that's why I usually like to do the blog before I go to the pool. But this actually made more sense to do
You
this.
look like the mean girl on Hey Arnold.
I don't know what Hey Arnold is, but I know the movie Mean Girls.
Are you a boomer?
Yeah.
Are you a baby boomer?
What am I? Well, no, it's 1985. I don't even know. I never really associated with those things of like, oh, so I don't think I'm a boomer, but.
No, you're kind of a millennial, but you act more like a boomer.
Well, yeah, because I act like my parents. I spend a lot of time with my parents. All right, I'm gonna do 100 crunches with my legs up like this, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100. Definitely more tired today after going to the pool. It's Britney Spears. I played with your heart, got lost in the game. Oh, baby, baby. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. Okay, 50 this way. So I was trying to think of, oh yeah, that's right. Okay, I was trying to think of something that I was going to tell you guys after I'm done with this, but I couldn't remember it for a second. But it just came to me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. All right. Feeling the burn, Jay? Going to the pool was awesome. It was still warm enough. It was a little chilly like when we first got there to get in the pool. But then once you sat out, it was hot. Okay, I'm gonna do the nunchucks. And then I'm just gonna sit in the chair and talk to you guys for a minute. These shorts are a little funky in the back. A little funky everywhere, but what are you gonna do? I never find shorts I like. Okay, here you come with the.
All right.
Here comes the cameraman. I need something more interesting. I'm coming over here. Oh yeah, this is good. A little Jay-Z. I'm really telling my age now. The music choices. Yes, I'm 40. All right, I'm gonna do a little nunchucks and then that'll be my workout for the day because I went to the pool. It's like a 5 to 10 minute workout, but it actually really helps. It seems like it wouldn't. It seems like you have to I think people get, sorry, I'm trying to make sure these shorts are just not gonna be fabulous, but none of my shorts ever work out great. Because they just they either fan out like crazy or they're kind of not covering my behind or something.
They look better than your other shorts.
Yeah, I am liking them better. The other ones were like pajamas. These are actually supposed to be workout shorts. You're supposed to wear them lower and all huge, but I'm not gonna wear that. I mean, I literally like a basketball player in the way you're supposed to wear these things. No, not gonna do that. Not gonna happen. Okay. I love nunchucks. I just do this and then one other thing, and that's it. I don't try to ever really learn any other thing. Because when you learn, you hit yourself a lot, and I'm good. I'm good at what I learned. I don't feel like I need to learn more. Because in the beginning, it sucks. When you're learning, you hit yourself a lot. Hey, there's a police helicopter. Oh, thank you. See how many times I can go there. And then I can do that. I only do that, and I go like this.
That is a good exercise.
Yeah, you feel the burn for sure. Yeah, I'm good. I'll pop my chair here though. I could sit right here. Yeah, get my chair. And that towel, please, if you could. And one of them waters, if you could, please. That'd be awesome. Yeah, I'm good. Because I went to the pool earlier. Whew. Feel the burn. Thank you kindly. And grab me one of them waters. Yeah, thank you so much. My other towel is washing right now because I took that to the pool. Everyone's favorite. My American flag towel. I was like, I wonder if the people at the pool think I'm sitting on a flag too. Not a towel, I just girl bring a flag to the pool and sit on it. Tan on the flag. Because I never thought about that it looks like a flag. Like it actually looks, and I was like, it really does just look like, it's a good towel. I mean, the colors are fabulous, but people think it's a real flag. And I'm like, every time I wash it, it gets a little more faded. This would probably be better than it'll look less like a flag. Faded flag. Oh, now she's on a faded flag, even better. All right, so happy Wednesday, everybody. What is today's date? The 8th. The 8th. Okay, so yeah, I leave for New York November 6th. Wow, crazy. So we had 28 days. And
where are you? It looks like Riverside, California.
you know, that's nice of you to say because it feels like it today, but when it's sunnier, it sure doesn't. It's Las Vegas. Actually, it's Summerlin in Las Vegas, which, you know, everyone here says they're in Las Vegas because your address is actually Las Vegas. There's no Summerlin address. You can write Summerlin, but the address is just Las Vegas. But the area is Summerlin. But it is very different than down by the Strip is much, much warmer. We're closer to the mountains. Like there's a mountain like right behind us, and they keep building all these houses up on that mountain, and they're getting steeper and steeper. The houses are all just like on a slant. They are going way up. This used to be kind of the end, this community, but they just keep going up, up, up. And this is still kind of like relatively flat compared to what's going on as they get further up there. It's getting like steep. But anyways, today is day 21, no alcohol, but we've had some really good weed. So we got this one called, oh gosh, that's what I was going to remember the name and then I forgot again. I'll think of it in a second. Because Richard keeps calling it Lucky Charms, but it's called Funky Charms. And so I was like, I knew you kept saying, he calls it Lucky Charms, but it's called Funky Charms. Oh, I really like it. I think I am starting to kind of like get the weed more like in my system because what happens when I go to New York is I don't smoke weed. And I use weed for medicine, so it does make a difference for me. And the more I'm home and actually get good weed and get weed in my system, then I'm getting happier and happier because I get really angry and irritable and like, man, I don't want to do anything. I'm like depressed when I don't smoke any weed. So I'm excited to go to LA first. We're going to LA. I was gonna say New York, but then I was like, no, we're going to LA first, which I'm excited for that. We're going to go not this weekend, but the next. So we'll probably leave next Friday. And I'm excited because it's really fun, actually, for me and Rich, like, to kind of travel together like that. And I think I was saying this earlier, like, it just went so smoothly last trip. And we are going to have to fix a couple things. Like, we need to get better tires if we're going to go more regularly. And then we were looking into maybe getting the front fixed, like, of a more, like, kind of like cheap way, you know, not the like $5,000 way, but like someone that'll, you know, kind of you buy the part and then they can, you know, do it kind of a little more ghetto, I guess you'd say, you know, way. But people do, you know, do the repair that's not so like the official, like what the insurance companies have. It has to be perfect, you know. So that was like an insurance quote of like, you know, if they repaired every single thing. But we just want to just not have the glass broken because the lamp still works amazingly. But I think you replace the whole setup, you know. You just put the glass on so you get the whole, you know, lamp assembly or whatever. But anyways, I have had just the best day. Like today was a really good day. So we've been watching baseball and I did mess her out, you know. But you know, it's getting close to the World Series, so it's pretty exciting now. The teams are, you know, playing the last ones that are left. And so I did a parlay where I picked like 4 or 5 teams, but however many are left, I think it's 4 that are playing today, of who's going to win for each one. But these Mariners over here might be messing me up. I don't know. Last night they were winning. It was like 3-0, and then all of a sudden now it's like 7-3 or something when I came in here. Oh, jeez, they're going to mess up my whole thing because the other games are later. But it was only like a $2 bet, but... Richard won yesterday, so we've been doing like way less, where it's like even smaller amounts. Like we used to do like $5 a piece, now it'll be like, okay, you get like $2, you get $2, you know. And if you do a big parlay, oh gosh, Richard was so close to winning the other day that it was like on a dollar, it was gonna pay out $100, and he was only off by like one thing, and it was like this massive parlay. We're like, what? Yeah, it was like, can you imagine? We were so pissed, but we don't really care because it was $1. But it would have been cool if it became $100. But anyways, Gloria and Annette are doing so well. Oh, I did all the blankets today. Well, I haven't done ours. I'm doing ours tomorrow. I did Annette's today, and her other ones are drying, and so we have 2 sets. Luckily, that's what makes it so much better now. Is luckily we're able to get 2 sets. We only have 1 set, but Annette, we have like 2 sets for her, so I can put, because she does not like to not have blankets on her bed or sheets. So when we first got here, when we first got her blankets, we only had, could afford 1, and then people, I think, had donated, the neighbors had donated 1, and then, so we actually have 3 for Annette. But one of them it's really scratchy, it's not good. And then we had gotten her a second one, that's right. So yeah. I think those little things make her really happy when she comes in. So I did it while she was on a walk this morning, and she's been staying home a lot. So that's been a big reason why I've actually not been able to do her bed for a minute, because she has been in her room, and she does not want me doing her stuff. So this morning she went for a walk, and I was like, oh, here's my opportunity. So I got up, and I did off her beds, and then we put that Damascus earth all over her room, because if you don't stay on top of it, the little critters come back. But that really helps, and it's really easy because you just powder it. I mean, it's easy getting powder a little, but I do it when I'm changing the blanket stuff, so then it's kind of underneath everything, but you don't want it like on top of your blankets or something. My goodness. But you had to just put that powder all over the room, and then they supposedly take it to the nest, and then the little guys die, the little bed bugs. So if you guys don't know, that was part of the thing when we moved in here to help Gloria. They were just overtaken by bed bugs, and it's a continual thing. They just never go away, not unless we can like rip out all the carpet and start over. But you can get them way better with that Damascus earth stuff, and then you rarely see them, When you see them, you put the Damascus earth out again. But with the other stuff, we were for like about 2 years almost, maybe 1.5 years, just spraying, doing the bed bug bombs, where you lift up the mattresses and spray the stuff and it's just, all that stuff is such a pain in the neck, and it doesn't do anything. But, and then we did where we were using the pressure washer, the water thing, and the steam cleaner. The steam cleaner thing. That worked pretty good, but that just was a pain in the neck. And now I do the Damascus earth, and then they're gone for a long time. And then if you see them, you do it again. So whoever told us that, thank you. It was someone on here. Because it was a nightmare. It was every day we were doing the other stuff. This is a once a month thing, maybe, that you have to put it down again, maybe a couple times a month, But this was every day we were having to deal with it, so we really appreciate that. We learned a lot, actually, from the blog, and I am not unappreciative of it. I know we had some ups and downs with the blog, but I really do appreciate everybody that helped us out and, told us good ideas for things and, donated and... the other bloggers, some of the ones like Mark Fusion, or I love like Bethadone. I've gotten bad about messaging everybody again. Oh, guess what? I found out yesterday that Ed Sheeran does not have a phone. And the only way to get a hold of Ed Sheeran, I was watching, it was Taylor Swift was on Jimmy Fallon. We never watched those shows until this whole Jimmy Kimmel thing, and now we've been watching those. Richard puts them on those late night shows, not when they're live, but we watch them later, the next day or whatever. And they're not that interesting. I'm like, not that Trump was right, but the shows are not that interesting, those late night shows. But Anyways, Taylor Swift was on there, and she was talking about that they didn't let Ed Sheeran know that she got engaged, and she said, well, because he doesn't have a phone. She said the only way you get a hold of him is you have to email him, and then they go bring him an iPad. Like, you email his like staff, and they go bring him like an iPad. And it's like, this is so cool, because that's so how I am, but I just don't have the luxury to not have a phone at all, like Ed Sheeran. But I am so that way that I'm just like, I don't want a phone. Like, I use it a lot in New York, but when I'm home, I'm just like, I literally barely touch my phone when I'm home, but then I forget to check things, because like, people will message me on different, platforms like Telegram or something. And then I just forget, because I just never am like looking at my phone. Where in New York, I'm like always looking at my phone, so because I'm just there by myself. So I'll be like, oh, there's, I'll see the messages all the time. But yeah, I'll be like, oh, I better look at my phone at some point, because Richard, he will make sure, like, if anything is important that I know about, because he'll check my phone for me, if I don't look at it for a minute, and that's super helpful. But in New York, I don't have the luxury. I have to do it, so I have to make sure, nothing, no emergency is occurring, or usually, it's for work or something. But anyways, we're going to LA, and just for the same amount of time, the Friday to Sunday, because I don't want to leave Gloria and Annette or Casper for any longer than that, because it's 2 nights, but it's not 2 full days. It's only 1 full day, but 2 full nights, where they're all alone for 2 nights. But we made sure they had everything they needed, and they used to live here by themselves for years, you know what I mean? And now there's so much structure that they really did pretty well. And we ordered them a pizza on the way home, because we weren't getting home till 7:30. We originally wanted to be home around 5:30, but once we stayed longer at the beach doing the vlog, which was super fun, we didn't make it home until like 7:30. So we're like, let's order them a pizza, because Richard wanted to cook for them Sunday night. So we felt like there was only like 1 full day that Gloria had to do the cooking, because we were there Friday till lunch. So Gloria had to cook Friday night, and sometimes they don't even eat dinner if they had a big lunch. But if she did, it'd be Friday night, and then she had to cook Saturday, and then just a Sunday probably morning. She probably just cooked once, and then we ordered them a pizza. So it was not like a lot of stress on Gloria. And then we made sure they both had cash. So if they did need something, Annette walks every day to places that it's the Walgreens and the Dottie's Casino, where she gets her cigarettes, and there's a Taco Bell, and there's a coffee shop. And so Annette goes there every day. So if they really did like run out of something that was emergency, we gave them cash. And Annette would like love to walk there. We wouldn't make like Gloria go there, but Gloria could ask Annette, and Annette is now able to do that. I mean, she's done so much. So she wouldn't, and she even walks to Smith's, but she wouldn't need to walk to Smith's. So it would be like, oh, they ran out of, I don't know, tea or something, because they like their tea now. She could go to the Walgreens, and so even without a car, for a couple of days, they're fine if they actually need something. And then Gloria likes walking to her club. I mean, we'll drive her when we're here, but she does enjoy walking when it's not too hot, because it is a pleasant walk. I like walking. I always want to walk, but Richard always wants to drive. I'm a walker, and Gloria is a walker too, but as she gets older, she does appreciate being driven. But sometimes she'll tell us, no, I want to walk, because we'll offer her. So it just depends. But today we drove her both ways. But anyways, I think any more than 2 nights would just be too much. I don't want them, because I don't want them to be, and if this starts working better with going to LA, where maybe we have a little extra funds, not so on the edge all the time, then we are talking about getting a second car for them, a small one, like a sedan, because Gloria can't drive the big SUV. Annette can, but since it's Annette's first time driving in many years, I think she would do better with a sedan. That thing, it's a truck. It's really big. I remember when I first got in it, I was like, this is too big. I don't want this. It wasn't the vehicle we wanted. I mean, I love it now, but it is big. It's it's got the handle that comes down. So we have a 2014 Mercedes ML 350, and it's a truck. It's a big thing, and Gloria has only ever driven sedans, really. So we want to get like a smaller sedan, like a Toyota or something, that's like easier to drive, or even maybe one of those older Mercedes like she used to have. But I think she would do better in a more kind of like smaller car, especially for Annette. The big cars are hard. Like, the car before was that older Mercedes, but it was so big that Gloria, like, she hit a lot of things in that car. She got it repaired several times too over the years. It's funny. Like, I was laughing. I'm like, why are you putting money in the car that you're gonna ding up again? But yeah, it's funny. But I think a smaller sedan would be. She's so small. Gloria's so small. She's such a tiny little lady. But something that's very safe. Not one of those little dinker cars. It's not safe. Something very safe. Like a Toyota Camry or something. Very safe. But they use those for like all the taxis in New York, Camrys and RAV4s, and my mom drove a RAV4. She loved the RAV4, but they are really good for like comfort and for being reliable and safe and economical and stuff. So, I mean, if they ever did feel comfortable driving the big car, we would maybe even take the smaller car when we travel because it probably gets better gas mileage. But I think it makes more sense to take the big car when we travel because it's just it's a better ride if you're having to be in the car for a long time. And we didn't get that bad of gas mileage. I was actually, I don't know exactly what we got because Richard checks the gas mileage more than me. I've never checked my gas mileage, like ever in my life. Like Richard will, reset the thing and stuff. I'll try to reset it for him if I go get gas. But I don't know. I've never checked things like that. Some things I'm like really OCD about, and other things I don't give a crap about at all. Like, it's really weird. That's why I'm not one of those insanely OCD people, but certain things I really am. And it's confusing to people because they're like, well, how come you can deal with that? I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I don't really I don't like any sort of mess. I mean, I'm not like fond of that. It's not like, oh, I like when that's messy, like for parts of the house. But there's also a point where I'm like, okay, I can handle this level, and then there's a level that I can't handle. You know what I mean? But when I have lived on my own, or like when it was just me and Richard, our places were always spotless. This is the dirtiest place I've ever lived in. And it's getting better each day in the sense of like, well, even like, bulk day was yesterday and we got rid of a bunch of stuff that was just back here that we didn't. We even got rid of Casper's first bunny house because I realized we're not ever going to use it. And the longer it sits out here, it just gets more deteriorated. And so it literally is trash. I had a hard time letting go of it because it was really cute. It was like this little blue thing. We still have the one from Mike and Janelle. That one he loves. He loves that one with the ramp. But this was the first one, the one that Jared used to go nuts about, like Free Casper. He hated that cage, but he was very small when I first got it. But then all of a sudden, the guy just like grew like out of nowhere. I didn't know bunnies grew that fast. So in no time, he was like, heck with this. I don't even fit in this thing. He was like Alice in Wonderland and was just kicking herself out of the house or something. He was like, I remember he was getting too long for the thing. And then Mike and Janelle stepped up, thank you, because that was like I think it was like $100 or something for that. And we didn't have it at the time. That was when we were like, just trying to just survive here. So things are getting way better. And I'm really enjoying that. I think like right now, like Richard is looking into, he will eventually get a job and then I'll eventually stop doing this. But right now I'm like, I kind of like that we're getting to travel together. And in the future, that probably wouldn't be the case. So that's what I said, even like with the New York thing, people thought it was going to go on forever. I think this is going to be my last trip. And even Richard's like, well, maybe we'll go and say, I'm like, I just don't think it'll make sense again because there are down days when I'm in New York. And so I go for 12 days because, like I said, I want to do the 2 weekends. But in LA, I can make the same amount in the weekend that I make in New York on a weekend, not for the 12 days. But it seems like I'll just go more often to LA than go all the way to New York and then deal with, having to deal with the alcohol, temptation and the food temptation of the food that I don't tend to like to eat, the very sugary food, because I like to do a protein diet. And, but definitely mainly the alcohol, because the alcohol is just like what really just sends me in a whirlwind. So it's like, I don't think it's worth it. And then there are down days where I might not work all of the 12 days. So it's like, but I pay for every day I'm there. Very expensive rates for the hotel. Whereas in LA, it's actually cheaper for the hotel. And we're only paying for 2 nights when me and Richard go. But then I'm actually able to work for 3 days, which is plenty. So, and even sometimes in New York, I get too tired, especially like when I first arrived. So sometimes the first weekend it doesn't even work out so well. So it's like it's a lot of like, because just traveling is difficult. You know, it's a anywhere from 4 to 5 hour. No, sorry, not 4. Yeah, I think it's 4. Yeah, I think it depends on the 4.5. 4.5 to 6 is what it's been. Which is usually 4.5 to 5, but depending on the airlines, I think one time it took me 6 hours when I flew like Spirit. But usually, if it's a better airline, it takes about 4.5 hours to get from Vegas to New York, and it's fun. I do enjoy flying. I actually do enjoy flying because I used to fly in the Air Force. But when you arrive, I don't know if you know, 1 hour in the air is worth 2 on the ground. So a almost 5-hour flight, and sometimes there's a 5-hour flight and has been a 6-hour flight, is now a 10 to 12-hour day for me already of just like being, you know, and even how long ahead, you know, I always get to the airport like 3 hours early, usually, at least 2.5. If it was that one time in New York, I was still there like 2 hours early. It took like 45 minutes to get through security or something like that. Because their machine was down for the photos. They do these photos now. But they do these photos and they take it, and then it's like a scan to make sure you're the person from your ID. And then, the real IDs, you pop them in the machine now. So you have to have a real ID to fly or a passport. You can't use like your regular, and you say, what's a real ID? Isn't that all of them? It's funny they call it a real ID because you're like, isn't my other one a real ID too? I mean, it is an ID, right? It's a real ID. But no, these are the ones that everyone's trying to get now that you need to fly with. If you just have your state ID, you can't fly domestically in the United States. And I think it started like May 7th or something, somewhere around there, this year. And you pop it in the machine now, and then it takes a quick photo, and then it like erases. But that's what was down. Not this trip, but it was my June. Was it June? Was it? June trip on the way back, and it took like 45 minutes to get through security, and it's never taken that long, which doesn't seem that long, but I've actually had a really good experience in New York of not having like long security waits. I've actually waited longer in Vegas than in New York normally, and this was like, but we weren't really like moving. It was like, oh dear, this doesn't look good. But then I think eventually they got it going, so we started moving, but it was like going so slow. But anyways, so you get all the way there, you do all the travel stuff, and then I'm just tired the first night, you know what I mean? So there goes whatever night I arrive, you know, and then I often, you know, miss the day. So it's just kind of like, it doesn't really make sense to go put all that strain on my body when I just could go have fun with Rich, and we go like, you know, every couple of weeks or whatever to LA, and we drive, and I love road tripping with Rich, and it was really fortunate when we shared, which we'll do every time now. The trip went so slow. So fast when we switched off like drivers, because we only had to drive for like either 2 hours or 2.5 hours a piece. And that's not much driving at all. I mean, I grew up in Northern California. That's what my dad commuted to work every day. I mean, that's what my grandpa lived in Long Island. That's what he commuted to Manhattan every day. So that's just like normal for like my family, like, 2.5 hours. So if that's your road trip, that all you have to drive is 2.5 hours. I mean, it was fast. I mean, I drove the last of the leg home, which was only 2 hours, I believe, because it was only took us 4 hours to get home. We didn't hit any traffic on the way home. It was so fortunate. It was Sunday, so that helps. But that's what we're gonna leave on Sundays, so it's better than leaving like on a Monday. But I just cruised, and it just felt like I kind of forgot we were like on a road trip. It started to feel like we were just like running to the store. So I'm like, oh yeah, because it just really, I don't know, it went really well. And it was good because we were doing it as a test run. I mean, we had to do it because we didn't have any option. Yeah, it wouldn't have worked out if we stayed in Vegas. We would have been in trouble. And more things kept coming in because, I mean, we pay things daily, especially with, you know, we've had to get credit cards to pay things, you know, especially with like trips. But then you got to keep track of when those things are due, because then you miss a payment, and then now you got a late payment, and now the things are to catapult really quickly, and we have things that are like due all throughout the month. So if I don't work and there's no business in Vegas, then we have to do something else. So that's why now I think we just feel a lot more positive, both me and Rich. And we were like, I want it this way for a minute, because this is actually a really cool experience that me and Rich get to travel. Because there is going to be a time that I don't do this anymore, and it's going to be sooner than later. But I'm kind of enjoying it. Like we're talking about maybe this year or so, go to LA, and then after that, Rich is going to get a job. But he's already looking into jobs because, it takes a minute, because he doesn't want I'm not having my husband get some silly little job. I want him to get a serious job that he enjoys, that is to his caliber, because he was a CEO at one point, and I know he's not gonna be a CEO, but I'm not gonna have him be a teller or something, I mean, so I actually am really enjoying now the journey, which I don't know if you guys know my ex's Jedi Joy Journey, and I always the word journey. Actually, really used to love the band Journey. Faithfully was one of my favorite songs when I was a kid, me and my sisters. But I really am let's try to enjoy this moment instead of everyone trying to force us you guys got to change your life right now and go get different jobs. Why? We're kind of enjoying the process. And there was a minute I wasn't, but that was part of the process too. I had to realize I love New York, but New York is basically a bad influence for me. It's bad habits for me. I'm all alone, and I don't like that. I mean, I've been married for 11 years and with my husband for 13. There's a reason why I'm still with him, because I don't like not being with him. I mean, it's I like hanging out with him. So when I go for 12 days, it really is a long time, and I don't like it, and he doesn't either. And, we make the most of it, where we try to say, well, they were getting a little bit of, independence, whatever, but we don't like it that much. We actually, and the whole time we're not together, we're FaceTiming, or we still think the other person's there. I wake up, oh gosh, when I was in LA, it's not but I kept waking up, and every night, Casper's usually very close to my feet, so I go and I put my feet down, and then I go see him, and that's something I do all the time, in the middle of the night a million times, and then I'll go pet him and stuff, and it's something we do. And then other times he's under the bed, but often he comes. So when I wake up, and because I wake up all throughout the night, I'll look at him and, oh, there he is, and I'll get down and pet him, and then he just likes hanging by my feet. So I was in a hotel room with Richard, and when we were in LA, and I would wake up in the middle of the night, and I would go to put my feet down, and then I would get really sad, because I would be wait, where am I? Because one thing, I'd feel it was not carpet. Because it would take me a second to realize, because you forget sometimes where you're at. This happens in New York. I forget. I think I'm home. But then I'd be but this time it was because I had Richard next to me. I think it felt like home, and I kept being where's Casper? My bunny, if you guys don't know. And he was not happy, but he did fine, because it was only, I said, 2 nights, and we saw him Friday half day, and then we saw him Sunday after 7:30 for the rest of the evening. But those 2 nights, I don't think he liked that. For the Friday night and Saturday night, he had to spend by himself, because he comes to my bed all the time, and I think he didn't like just being all by himself in the room. But we gave him the whole room. It's not gonna be any sort of cage, but the whole room is his cage. He loves it. We closed the door. Gordon and I can go in there. It's not locked or anything like that. But he prefers it to be closed, because then he feels safer, it is a cage. But he don't want to be in a small cage, but the whole room is a cage, and it's a big room. So. And he goes in the closet, and he goes on the bed, and he goes under Richard's chair, and he can go into his cage. He's got a ramp, and he goes up and down, and he runs around, and he's got his little area next to his cage that I set up where he plays with little toys, and he actually did pretty well. He didn't make too much of a mess, in the sense I think he was a little depressed. He probably spent a lot of time under the bed. But every day that we're here, he just I had to clean up. He makes a mess all over it. And this was I came back, and he barely made a mess. I'm oh, you just make a mess for me, don't you, Casper? He does. He likes to jump in his litter box and then kick out all the stuff, and then it goes everywhere. He surfs into it. He literally bunnies can be extremely quiet or extremely loud. I'm gonna tell you, all by their choice. And so when he wants attention, oh man, he comes out, and it never feels like if I'm talking to Rich on the end of the bed, if I have my feet out, he comes darting out. He needs attention. He gets jealous, like when me and Rich are interacting, especially if we're doing, intimate. Oh, here he comes. Here he comes, darting into his litter box, making sure we know, and then like crunching on his lettuce as loud as he can, and crunching on his bamboo, or just like, excuse me, you guys, I don't appreciate this. So I think he thinks I'm kind of his. Because when he was unneutered, he used to spray me. Which took me a second to realize I was getting sprayed. I thought it was pee, which not much better. When I got sprayed, I was like, I don't know actually which is worse. But the idea of spray seems kind of worse to me. But when we got him neutered, he doesn't do that anymore. Thank goodness. That was terrible. And I think, though, he kind of thinks I'm like his, And so he gets jealous of Rich. But he is the funniest bunny. But yeah, he comes diving in, like surfing into his litter box, and we have this, like, it's kind of like, they're kind of like little rocks, but they're like soft, these little like things, and he kicks them all out, and then he just tries to make as much noise as possible, and he thumps too. Have you guys ever heard a bunny thump? Oh yeah, if he's angry, we're not giving him enough attention. Like if we were watching sports too long or something, and he's like, excuse me, he starts thumping on the floor. Like when I wasn't feeling good. Usually with sports, I'm still paying attention to him. But like when I wasn't feeling good, and he's like, excuse me, you guys forget about me? You do forget about your bunny for a second, like not like fully, I love them. But like when you're doing things, because when they're quiet, they do disappear. And they're usually like, they're hidden. They like to hide under things, and like he hides in the bed, and you can't hear him. And then all of a sudden, you'll be doing something, and then here he comes, like, oh yeah, because like for a second you do almost like weirdly, not that you forget, because I mean we have like bunny stuff all over the room, but it's like this weird thing. Then, so I do always say, like, I feel like they want to remind you that not to forget about them, because I do think you do when they're quiet. You're like, where other animals, like dogs, you see a lot. And they don't usually stay asleep in that long when their owner wakes up. Casper will sleep while we're doing stuff. So, you'll like just kind of like doing anything, it can be like, it can even sometimes be like almost half a day before you see him if he feels like sleeping, because bunnies sleep a lot when they want to. And then all of a sudden here he comes darting out, and I'm like, oh, you want to make sure we didn't forget about you, huh? Oh yeah. He's the funniest bunny. I love my bunny. I hope he lives like at least 10 years, because they say bunnies lives like 10 years. I'm like, he better give me more than 10 years, but at least 10. I don't know what I'm going to do. And that's why I don't like having pets, because I've lost too many people and pets in my life that I can't enjoy the pet fully without me thinking about, there's going to be a day you're not going to be here. And it's hard for me. So I was freaking out on the way back from the trip when we were about 30 minutes from home. Like, I did fine the whole trip. I mean, like I said, I was thinking about him. And we'd already checked in with Gloria and Annette and sent the pizzas, so we knew they were doing great. But I was still worried about Casper, and so about 30 minutes to home, which is about the distance from the strip, really, about 25, 30 minutes, I was just starting to be like, okay, I hope he's okay, because we'd never left him alone like that. I leave him with Rich when I go to New York, but that's with Richard. We've never left him 2 nights by himself, and yeah, he was not super happy, but he was fine. Like, nothing destructive had happened. He didn't hurt himself in any way. He didn't chew on things. He had actually been very good. Like, he'd only chewed on his toys, but he didn't chew on like any sort of thing that he wasn't supposed to. He kind of knows now. Like, when we first got him, he used to chew on everything, and we had to like find a kind of like a balance of like bring up as many wires and cords and cover him. But now there's a handful that he technically could reach, like if he got on his hind legs, but he doesn't bother with them anymore. It's like we kind of have this understanding, like, no more with the cords, dude. You got all this stuff. So he literally chews on his toys now. And he really likes to get him the bamboo sticks and these little Timothy Hay like blocks, and we give him these Timothy Hay little balls that we play the game with. But he'll just chew on that stuff forever, and they're like hard, and so it's good for his teeth. But so I think he was only chewing on cords when we didn't have the proper stuff for him. We were the bunny guy who was like dropped on us. This guy had got him and didn't realize how much bunnies are a lot. They're not like a dog or cat. And you think they are because, they just need a litter box. No, there's just a lot with bunnies. Like, for one thing, they need a lot of attention. And like they just require a lot. Like, they like their area really clean, and they need a cage in the beginning, and they need the litter box, and then they need lots of different food things, in the sense of it's not just like one thing. Like, we have to do the kibbles, the hay, and then we do lettuce for him. But the hay and all that stuff is very expensive, and the the bedding is the most expensive because he's extremely picky, and now he only likes this one bedding that he eats the bedding to a little bit, not like a lot of it, but he eats it. He don't want any other bedding. He gets all pissed off. He's like so spoiled. So all these things like add on, and it's way more frequently because I don't know how often cats use their litter box, but bunnies, it is all day long. I change that litter box like twice a day. No longer do I like fully change because that's too expensive. What I do is scoop out the poop like twice a day and then, add in more and then periodically, clean the whole thing. But I used to pour out the whole thing and that I can't. Because he only tends to pee and poop on one side. So that side's still fresh. So I can scoop out this side, kind of move over that, and then put some fresh on top. And then when it's time to do it, I clean the whole thing. But like right now, what I do is I wait usually till like the bag's gone and like it gets lower and lower because I run out of when a bag is low. They've been running out of the bedding too on Amazon. So we're getting like delayed. So I just scoop out the old stuff and then try to push over it up, but his thing gets like less and less bedding and then he gets mad. But it takes forever now to get bedding and sometimes they don't even have it in stock. So I don't know, we have a high maintenance bunny. And the hummingbirds, that stuff's not cheap either. We get the electrolyte water for them. It's some sort of juice. It's for hummingbirds. But I love wild animals. But yeah, so this guy couldn't take care of him and he had got him from, these girls were giving him away at Raising Cane's, which is a chicken place here. And he was just local here, and he just saw my ex, my Twitter, that I love bunnies. And he was like, I have a bunny that I thought I could take care of, because he was like a single guy. I think he was in college. He didn't even have a car. I don't even know if he had his own place. But he had a rental car, and he was driving them, Casper around for a couple of days in this rental car, and Casper bumping around in the back, no cage. So he got pretty traumatized when we first got him. And he wanted to keep him for the weekend, but I guess like Casper got into gum, and this kid was not taking care of poor little Casper. He was just a little baby, because we got him when he was 3 weeks old, and the kid literally said, I call him a kid because he's like in college. I call college kids. And he goes, no, we're not kids, we're adults. Yeah, but you're not adults like I'm an adult. Like, you're not like 40 to 50 to 60 and above adults. 30s and below, please appreciate being young. Don't try to get old too fast. It's not a good thing. It's so funny how when you're young you want to get old fast, which I never did. I was always been comfortable with my age. I didn't care. Whatever, I'm the age I am. I mean, I'm aging. I'm going through the process. So I've enjoyed that age when I was there. Some ages I enjoyed probably more than others. But, everyone was a process. But people, when they're young, often want to get older. But then when they're old, all they want to do is try to look young. You spend all this time when you're young putting on this makeup to look old. And then when you get old, all you do is try to look young. Why don't you just look your age? And maybe look good for your age. You know what I mean? Look good for your age. But don't try to look not your age. I'm fine if people say, oh, you look 40. I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm not like, oh, no, excuse me. Well, I thought I looked 35. They're like, well, how old are you? Well, 40. Okay. But I was a little irritated when I was 35 and people were saying I looked 45. That irritated me a little bit. I'm like, no, I'm not. And I had this guy argue with me one time, and I was like, he wanted me to show his ID. I was like, well, I don't feel like I need to prove myself, but I'm not. But I'm not 45. But thank you for the wonderful compliment. I really appreciate that. But now as I'm 40, I'm totally cool with it. But I'll be a little upset maybe if they say 50. Yeah, one might be a little bit. Not yet. But when I'm 45, I'll be probably fine if they say 50. But at 40, I'll be like, no, I just turned 40. Well, not just in March, so I'm almost going to be 41, not too long. A little bit of time, 6 months, right? Yeah, a little less than that. In half a year, I'll be 41. So I'm going to New York. Like I said, it's November 6th through the 18th. I believe that's going to be my last New York trip. And at first, I was a little bit irritated that I had even booked the trip, because we did non-refundable flights and non-refundable hotel for the first, because we booked for several days. And I was like, it doesn't make sense since we're low on money for like us to do that and then just be like, oh, forget about it, just stay here and just forgo that. So I'm like, I think because when we did it, like I really felt like I needed to go to New York and we had not done the LA thing. So I really feel the universe like wants me to go one more time, and I do think it'll be a good closure for me. I feel if I didn't go one more time, I might be really sad. But I feel like if I go one more time, like I'm good. Like I've been, it'll be like a full year. You know, I've been, this will be my 9th work trip, and it'll be 10 times I went to and from New York, from Vegas to New York, you know, because we moved there in 2021 and then came back 2022. So I really feel, because honestly, the last time I was there, I was almost getting a little bored with it, even though I love New York. Don't get me wrong. I love Manhattan, but it is a very small area. And the song just came on as a New York City song. But it's true. What's the song? The moon in the New York City. But anyways, I have all these songs because whenever I do my little memory videos, I want to do a New York song. So I found all these songs and I heart them, and so it like plays like all these New York songs. But anywho, I do think it'll be a good closure for me because it's where my mom's from. She's from Long Island, North Babylon, Long Island, and she died in 2005, and this will be the 20 year, November 18, 2005, and this will be, I leave New York November 18, 2025, and I think that'll be a good closure. Like, I think it'll be like, I'm good because I went for the first time in 2021. I'd never been to New York, and my mom always wanted me to go. I mean, it wasn't this thing where she was like happy she left New York. It was like she wanted to go. She didn't want to move back, but she wanted me to experience New York since I was a child, and we could never afford it. Actually, there was one time, which is my fault, but I was a child. My mom had been working. She didn't have money, you know. So my parents decided, they're very intelligent, but they decided to get their degree after the military in like Bible college, which is useless and doesn't pay. So they did very odds and end jobs that didn't pay a lot, and like a lot of times like janitorial, or my mom would clean house or clean the school or be a teacher's assistant or different things. But they were both intelligent enough to do jobs that paid more, but they wasted their time in Bible college. So my mom, in order to make extra money, would usually have to like clean house or babysit even the neighbors' kids. And me and my sister, I think we're only like 3 and 4, or maybe no, because it was when we lived in Placerville. We moved to Placerville when I was 4. We lived in Sacramento until I was 4. Well, we lived in Mexico when I was 3, so we didn't just live in Sacramento. But I didn't move to Placerville until I was 4. And it was in Placerville, so I was 4, my sister was 6. We were running around and we ran into each other. And my mom had saved all this money for us for a family trip to New York. I think she saved like 3,000 or 4,000, which was enough. Okay, cool.
She doesn't want to go. So
Oh, really? Okay.
she's staying home.
Okay, make sure you get the list. I put it by the keys.
Okay,
And don't forget your wallet. Yeah.
Be right back in about.
Okay. Yeah, as long as she get her some popcorn then. I'm telling you, she likes that popcorn. She's so stubborn, but so I always say she likes this popcorn, and when we get it, she downs it. Like she loves it, and it's a healthy one. And then when we go, often she'll be like, "No, I don't want it. I don't want it," you know. But then when we get it, if she's not at the store, she's like so excited. So she's just funny sometimes when she's at the store. I think she doesn't want to spend money. She's so worried. So she doesn't mind if we already brought it to her. So sometimes I'm like, Annette doesn't want to go shopping. We're just going to go shopping if you guys didn't know what's going on. And Annette didn't want to go today because she likes to go in the morning, but it's later. And she walked really long. She walked really far. She's been walking all day. I think she's resting now. So we're just gonna go get. We just needed a couple things because we actually had quite a bit of food from yesterday. So I think she always is worried that it's gonna cost too much. But if we bought it and brought it home, then she's like, oh, it's already bought. Oh, did he? Oh, he took my. Oh, I need to take this off. Okay, he took my. Hold on one second, guys. He took my music, and he's probably thinking, why isn't this working? Because he had to take his phone. That's fine. I'm gonna then, okay, back of my shorts are ridiculous. These are just silly, but I like them better than the other ones because, he took the phone to take to the store because I actually was using his, because mine is actually being used. The store, because you need it, you get your Because otherwise I used to not go to bring my phone to the store. Like, I'll just leave it at home because it's not that far. You know, if you get a flat tire, that would suck. But I usually take it. You know, if it was, you know, if we're blogging. But now when you need it for you actually have to use those online deals or the app deals or whatever are the deals now. They kind of like slowly migrated everyone there, and now that's where you get the deals. Everything else is kind of a rip-off. And people don't realize because they kind of do it sneakily, where you think there isn't like this digital deal, I think called digital deal, at a lot of them. But you really got to read the fine print because you're like, oh, 3 for $10 or something. Like they will put, the ladies like the Doritos, and they'll say 3 for $10, but it's like a digital deal. But the old people don't realize that, so they grab 3, but they're like $5.50 a piece. So if there's not a digital deal, you know, it's much more expensive. You know, and so they don't realize that, and then they get to the checkout, and then they're all griping, why is everything so expensive? But they didn't know to do the digital. So it is a little bit sneaky, because I feel like a lot of older people are the ones that struggle, and they're the ones that don't know how to do the digital apps. You know what I mean? Where the young people do. So it could be just more obvious. There's that old mentality that the casinos used to be more that way, where well, the casinos still do with the resort fees, but I was thinking like back in the day they used to make it like difficult to find the restrooms or kind of trap you in the casino. Where now it's like just let the people out. They're gonna be mad if they can't find a restroom or if they can't get out of the casino. Where back in the day it'd be like, oh, I guess I'll keep walking and stay in the casino. But I think now people just get mad at that kind of stuff because, you know, we kind of like, we can look up things ahead of time. We can say, how do I get out of the casino, you know, online somewhere. But it's even getting harder with the scams in Vegas with the resort fees because people are talking about it more, which I'm glad because I always hated those things. Because what happened is people come here and they think it's going to be very cheap for the, they're saying like $7 for a hotel room a night, which that's insane if you think it's going to be $7. Where can you get a hotel for $7? But I guess they were advertising that, but then they tack on like $100 to $200 in resort fees for some of the hotels. I don't know, some of them might be like 50, but I know some of them, well, I guess it depends on how many days you're staying or whatever, I don't know. Because I know in New York, I don't think they have the resort fees, but they usually do a deposit for each night. So it does tack on where you think it's only $50, but then you're like, oh, I'm staying for X amount of nights, so that's now 4 nights is now a $200 deposit. So sometimes you forget to think about that. But then other hotels do it where it's like we were checking out this one in LA, that it was $300 no matter how many nights you stayed. One night was still $300, and we're like, no. If only we didn't have that much on our credit card. And fortunately, we still have a little bit left on our credit card, which we might need to use to fix the headlight. Because I think the more we're going to LA, we better get, like, if at least the glass isn't broken, you know. I don't think the car's ever going to be perfect, where it's not going to, like, you know, we're going to makeshift it there, but at least we'll have the, not a broken glass. But it is still functionable for as far as the light still works. It's just that outside looks ugly. And it makes it hard. We can't wash the car except for by hand, which I need to do one of these days. Maybe tomorrow. What's tomorrow, Thursday? Oh, tomorrow actually is Annette's doctor's appointment, which I always let her know a couple days in advance. You know, Annette has been, today I gave her her pool card back. So she's now holding it. So I used to hold on to her cards, which she wanted me to because Annette would lose everything. Back in the day when we first were here, she was very erratic where she would leave her purse everywhere. She would lose her passport. So I held on to her passport in the beginning, but then it was an expired one. So eventually I said, she can have it because it was expired by the time we got here. It was already expired. Gloria hadn't got it renewed because there's so much going on. But, and Annette was too berserk. So, but it was the only form of ID we had for her. So I held on for a while, but then eventually she wanted to hold on to it, but then right away, it was like a week later, she forgot her purse somewhere. And she lost her passport, but listen to this. So I was like, whatever, because I was like, you know what, it was expired, and we wanted her to have that freedom. This was about a year ago now, maybe even longer. And then I said, well, we're gonna need to get her a real ID anyways. Not to say the real ID, we just needed to get her, you know, a valid ID. I used to say valid ID. A valid ID. And she wants to get her license, but you know, if she starts doing, she's doing better and better each day. She did used to drive for a long time, so you know, we'd probably drive with her, you know, make sure she's safe, and definitely it would be us or Gloria, but I almost feel like it needs to be me or Richard, and then when it's just the two of them, Gloria drive, because I'd kind of rather her drive with one of us. But around town, but I don't think it's gonna be far. But anyways, one time about a couple months later, so she lost her purse, and she really loved that purse. And I'd gotten this purse, it was so funny. I got this purse my first New York trip. We did not have a lot of money at all, so everything I got was from Walmart or Target. And Richard, the only nice thing he got was he had got me that suitcase, the one that's now broken, which he's using now. It's not broken, it's only broken on the outer shell, which if you're not flying with it, it actually is perfect. Like for when we just put it in the car, it's perfect for Richard. And I'm actually happy because I liked that suitcase. And I have this thing where I don't like letting go of things even if they're broken. I mean, I don't collect junk, but if it's something that's like still working nice, like that's still a really nice suitcase. If it's garbage, no, I'm all about throwing out garbage, you guys know me. But if it's something that's still fully functional and someone else could use it, and it's a really nice thing, and it was really nice when it was bought, and it's still in really good condition, besides, like this one just has a crack on the outer shell, but on the interior it's like in perfect condition, because I keep myself so nice, as you guys don't know, like the way this house is not by me. I'm trying to make it cleaner and cleaner each day, but I did 2 loads of laundry today. I was thinking about having a load but there's so many things. And I cleaned the kitchen this morning, and I vacuumed, and I did Annette's blankets, and then we went to the pool, and do the blog and stuff, and then hopefully I'll work tonight. But I sometimes can only fit so many things in the day of like little chores, but I do the best I can of like trying to every day kind of get it a little better. But the problem is when I go to New York, it gets pretty messy, so this will be good that I don't have to keep going to New York for that reason too. And also, it's just a really long time. Like Annette really misses me, and Casper really misses me, and Richard really misses me, and even Gloria really misses me. She's always like, we really miss you when you're in New York. So I think it's just too long. I think the 2 days when me and Richard are gone, I mean, I hate that Richard even has to come with me in the sense of like we hate going to that, but it's also great that he gets to come, because it was kind of awful for him to never get to go anywhere either. I mean, in the sense of like where he was always just like taking care of the chores while I was in New York, because even though I'm working, like it's still awesome you're going to New York, I mean, where he's like stuck in this house every single day. I mean, he literally had barely left the house until we went to LA, and it was so great to see him so excited again. Like it was like I didn't realize like, oh, he's been cooped up so much, because we do everything together. So even though I'm in New York, like I feel like he's there, even though because we're talking on the FaceTime. But then I realized he's not there in person, and he is just stuck in this house, and I think it's so much better for both our psyche, and I think we fought more when it was like, because you kind of become a little bit more, single oriented, where you start to like get stuck in your way when you're living by yourself for 12 days. Both of us, we come back and we're like, because I'm like all like, it's messy, and he's like, I did the best I can, and he has been doing a good job, but then I'm like, then he gets all offended, and I'm like, no, I'm just, I'm OCD, don't worry, like you did a great job. And then, when I'm in New York, I get really set in my ways, and usually the worst thing is I start drinking, and then that gets me in this really bad routine that's, very different, very, very contrasting, different than how I am at home. So it's hard when I first come back. I'm always very grumpy and irritable. And I think that it'll be really nice to just have this one last trip. And I'm glad that I'm going. Now that I think about it, we always try to, do what seems to make the most sense for everybody, and we don't, I don't like leaving everybody, so if the trip wasn't already booked, I would have not gone to New York. I would have just, made it work with these LA trips, but I'm thinking, like, it's probably, I must need to, it's probably necessary, because I do make more money in New York, but it is 12 days, but in that time frame, I'd only be going once to LA in 12 days, if that makes sense. So I'd only be the 3 days versus 12 days, if that makes sense. So this way I can, get a lot more done in a shorter time frame, but it's too straining to do so regularly. But I do love going to New York, but I am ready for that to close. And I kept saying November would be the last time I drink, but I didn't. And I even said maybe it'd be the last time I go to New York, but I wasn't fully thinking that was going to be the case, because I thought, because we didn't have the LA plan, so it's like, yeah, I'm probably going to have to go back to New York. But now I'm like, I think this will be my last trip to New York, and I'm good with that, and I'm happy about it. But I'm also like, I feel fortunate that I get to go one more time. Because I just got that new suitcase that's great, which I'll use in LA. I mean, it was fabulous in LA. It was great is with those two suitcases, I can actually move them both at the same time, so like I can move both suitcases. Whereas, if your suitcases are a pain in the neck, so it can make traveling a pain. But my newer one for New York is just the best suitcase. It's like effortless. And so I'm glad I actually have at least one more like cross-country trip with that fabulous suitcase. But I'm going to love it even in LA. Because it makes traveling so nice when, because me and Richard, we've had suitcases, but then there's times we didn't have suitcases. So like we had suitcases when we first got together because we moved to Panama. But then at some point, I don't remember what we did with those suitcases, but we didn't have them. I don't remember where they went. Oh, I know where they went. They were stolen in the Jaguar when we were living in the cave. We had these suitcases. They were these Liz Claiborne. They were not hard shell, but they were actually really nice suitcases. We got them from like Ross in like Portland, Oregon, and they were actually fabulous suitcases. We had the whole set. It was like 3. The big one, the small one, and the one like I have now, the little toiletry one. And we used that for many years, and then we didn't have any suitcases after the cave, and we didn't get a suitcase until we moved back to Panama. And so when we would move or something, it was always a pain in the neck, like trying to just cram your stuff in bags. Like you don't realize how great suitcases are until you try to move with like bags or try to travel with just like bags. I used to travel with like duffel bags. They're just so much more of a pain, and they're heavy. These suitcases, like, glide them around. So, and when I was a kid, the suitcases were the ones that had the handles that you carried, no wheels. So traveling was a lot more difficult, because you had to carry these heavy suitcases through the airport. Now you're like, gliding around. And I do enjoy traveling now. So it is nice to get back traveling. And I think I didn't want to stop traveling. I think why I was saying I didn't want to stop going to New York was I didn't want to stop traveling. But I'm not a traveler where like I want to go like tourist sites. This is more like I actually like traveling for work. Like I actually realized I do like that because that's what I did in the Air Force. I flew every day and like I traveled, and it doesn't have to be necessarily flying, like being in the car. Like I did that a lot as a kid too. And my like I say, I come from a family of a bunch of truck drivers. So I love being in the car and I love being in a plane. And I think when I'm just here in Vegas the entire time, I do get sad without being in one of those things. And just driving around town is not the same. Actually, I don't even like that driving because it's like hectic and you're trying to go. I like when you're like cruising on the road and you're just, you can put on cruise control. I don't do cruise control, but Richard does. But around here, you'd be insane to put on cruise control in Vegas for the most part. Because people are in and out and out. But yeah, the drive home, oh my gosh, we got the most beautiful sunset too on the way home. It was just perfect timing because we planned on coming home earlier and it was like, oh, this was perfect. So yeah, the trip was just really fabulous. We had the windows down most of the time and the sunroof open, which we never have our sunroof open in Vegas. And we got that car in Vegas, so we've never like had the sunroof open. And it was really nice. We're like, oh, this is where you have a sunroof. In Vegas, you close your sunroof and you close the shade too, because it's just the sun is too hot. It's so intense when you're driving. It's so intense sometimes you can't even like see because it'll burn down onto your steering wheel and then it'll shine back into, it'll reflect, or into it's so bright. So I think it's good for me and Rich because we've been together for 13 years, married for 11, but we always were kind of just doing our own thing. And now we love living with Gloria and Annette, and I don't ever want to not live with them. But I think we did need a little bit of space once in a while to like be just the two of us, like going to a hotel. It's only 2 nights, but like it was really fun. We had a lot of fun. And it felt like, I can see, because like we've been really grumpy for the last several years, kind of since we moved in here, because there's been a lot, we took on a lot of responsibility that we weren't used to. Me and Rich were kind of like free spirits, just doing whatever we want, moving whatever we want, kind of like living, however we wanted to. Like it was not a lot of responsibility. We don't have children. And we were married with no children, and we have a kind of alternative lifestyle. So, we just really enjoyed jump in the car and do whatever. now we tend to stay home because we want to be here with Corey and Annette, and and I've taken on so many more bills because everything here is way more expensive than we were ever paying, except for in maybe Manhattan. But we were living in Manhattan, and I was making Manhattan money. Now I'm trying to pay like Manhattan prices in Vegas, so that's why I've been traveling. But I do enjoy it, and people always want to have me like immediately get out of my job. There's things I don't enjoy, just like no one enjoys everything about their job. But it's not like every person it's that way. It's just like there's times I like, depending on like more my health, like when I don't feel good. But no one wants to go to work when they don't feel good, And so when I'm unhealthy or when I start drinking too much, then I'd rather drink than work. I think that's most people, So I get grumpy, I gotta go to work. But when I'm healthy, I don't mind because I do enjoy working. I'm not someone that likes to just sit on my bum all day and do nothing and watch TV. And when I don't feel good and when I'm depressed, that's what I do, and it makes me more depressed. Because I don't like that I'm doing that. Like I don't, I'm not trying to bag on myself, but it's like when I just sit around, I do in a sense bag on myself in the sense where I'm like, Joy, you need to like be a little more active, like do something, be like clean something, be productive, work, try to work, don't just watch TV all day. And so it then starts to like just become like this vicious cycle of like, the longer I do it, the more I'm like more depressed. So that's what happened when I first got back. It was like I stayed in bed for quite a while. And that's why I'm really happy this will be my last New York trip, because there is a good chance I'm going to drink this trip, November. But then that's it, you guys. And it's going to be really easy when me and Rich go to LA. Because for one thing, if I do drink this New York trip, which I would like if I wouldn't, but if I end up caving, because I'm in New York and that's why it's my biggest struggle there, then when I get home, that will be my last of like this countdown of like how many days I've been sober, because then I'm going to stay sober. And the longer I'm sober, the easier it is for me, where I could even go back to New York, if it had been a couple years even, or even a year. But when it's only 23 days or whatever, it's still too fresh for me because I am a very bad alcoholic. And so if I'm by myself and if I'm, sitting there in a lonely city, it's very hard for me to resist alcohol. But when I'm with my husband, we've been married, or we've been together for 13 years. Less of those years were we drinking, more of those years were we sober. So I associate like my time with Richard more of sobriety. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, when I'm with my husband is when I want to drink. It's the opposite. So why it was difficult is when I was going to New York, I was by myself. And when I'm by myself, I want to drink. And prior to meeting Richard, I probably would have died because I was just going to drown myself in alcohol. I had become where I didn't care much about myself anymore. So I didn't necessarily, I wasn't so, the withdrawals weren't so intense back then because I was still working, like I was working in real estate. So I was working during the day, so I wasn't drinking all day long. Like when I go to New York, if I drink, I usually drink all throughout the day. That's why I say I'm not a one drink person. It's like I'm going to get the 6-pack, the hard cider, the beer, and I'm going to drink it throughout the day. And that's not good for me. It's too much alcohol, like even in one day. So in 12 days, if I drink, I'm really bad. So I don't want to do that this trip because I really don't want to come home at 6. So I'm hoping maybe I'll decide not to do the alcohol because I am feeling really good being healthy. But I do give myself the little caveat, which people say is this is the last time I have to struggle with this because I don't see myself doing any more of these New York trips. And people go, oh, just changing location to get sober. Well, you got to do what you got to do. If you're an alcoholic and it's so destructive for your life and you realize the same place, you keep doing, beating yourself on the head of like doing the same routine, you finally go, I'm not doing it when I do this, so let me just change something else. You know what I mean? So yes, I'm changing the setting of we're going to LA, and I don't struggle with alcohol in California. Something about when it's sunny and bright, and when I'm with my husband, if I'm going to the beach, I don't know. I'm not a beach drinker. I've never drank on the beach ever. I've drank on boats when I was in the Air Force, but a very small time. So I don't really associate water with drinking. I don't know. With me, like I am an alcoholic, but there's certain things where like if you send me in a bar, that's not gonna be good for me. I mean, like I associate bars with drinking. Even things like those music festivals. I would have a hard time, those big ones. You know, I could go to a concert, but like those like EDC things. And I don't think I'd really, I mean, maybe you go stoned, but I don't know. I think I'd be really bored with that stuff really fast, and I'd like get too hot and be like, "Get me out of here, I'm too old." But if I drank, I'd probably want to go to those things forever. So we've never gone to one of those. Richard's wanted to go before, but I'm like, I just don't want to go if I'm not drinking. This is not, like, I don't like things like that, you know. And you go, "Oh, well, you can't go to those things not drinking." I'm like, yeah, pretty much. Like, I can, but it's not fun. Does that make sense? Like, I can. I am a very, very strong-willed person that I can have insane self-control, and I've done it many times. But it's just not fun. Like, the entire time I'm like, oh, I want to drink. It's like, that's not fun for me. And I'm like, oh, look at people drinking. I want to drink. Like even if it's been probably several years, if it's right there wherever, there's certain things that I'm just like, I don't find that fun, because those were the things that I like to drink. So I don't go to like a huge EDC music festival, and I'm not going to go sit at a bar, but I can go to concerts still. I could probably even go to a concert in a bar if I wasn't like sitting at the bar. It was more like where you stood in a bar and there was the music, like the live music. But I wouldn't be sitting at a bar. That would be too close for me. Like, you're right there. And then, so New York, the whole city feels like a bar, really. I mean, there's so many bars and restaurants, and all the restaurants have alcohol for the most part. Very few restaurants don't have alcohol. So pretty much, and I don't know if you know, a lot of the places in New York is food and bars. And especially in certain areas, like if you're ever in Hell's Kitchen, which I don't know if I have stayed in Hell's Kitchen before, but that's just all restaurants and not even as much bars. Well, there are, yeah, restaurants and bars, but a lot of restaurants. But so I find for me, it's just easier sometimes to change the setting if it's an option. I mean, sometimes you can't. Well, then, yeah, you're going to have to white knuckle it and deal with it. And I've been there before. I actually, when I first had to get sober, I did have to be the DD for my family. They thought this was, oh, great, you got DUI when I was 22. You're just going to take us everywhere. And so I had to go to bars. But I was very strong about it then, because I felt terrible about getting a DUI. And I took it very seriously. So I stayed sober for it was like 4 or 5 years. And like no messing up. I was like, nothing. I wouldn't even do mouthwash if it had alcohol, and I was like, no alcohol, nothing. It made sure nothing had alcohol. And my sister was actually the one to get me to drink again, which is just the craziest thing, because my family now doesn't think I should drink, which they still drink. My family's like been up and down. So when I was young, my family were drinkers, and I did not drink, and I was like a prude. And then when I went in the Air Force, I became a drinker, and then I went home and I'm like, I'm a drinker, but they right away learned that I couldn't hold my alcohol that well, but neither can most of them, but not nearly as bad as me. And so it was right away like, oh, Joy probably shouldn't drink so much. But then once I got my DUI, it was like, oh no. But not too long after my DUI, my sister just wanted a drinking buddy because she had moved to Portland from Chico. And she literally was like saying, oh, you're not an alcoholic. You just got a DUI because you made a mistake, but just don't drive. Because you're in Portland, you don't have to drive. We walked everywhere, we didn't drive. She's like, but you're not an alcoholic. So I was like, I think I'm an alcoholic, Sarah. She's like, no. So this went on for like months where I'm sitting at a bar with her. But we would sit at a table. I was saying, I don't really like to sit at the bar. And I would get ginger ale when I drank more sugar. I think I drink ginger ales. I would get a ginger ale, and we would sit at a table, and she'd usually get food and a drink. And this was like an everyday thing when I hung out with her, because I'd pick her up from work, and then she'd want to go. And I was sober. And I'm like, can you just be a little more considerate? But she'd be like, oh, you got to drink with me. So she begged me for months, and then finally I gave in one time. And I had still the blow and go thing in your car, where that thing where you had to make sure. And because it was about to be removed, but I never had an issue with it. But my sister started borrowing my car and then setting off the thing, because she had alcohol. And I was like, Sarah, they take this very seriously. Like, I can get in a lot of trouble if I even set that thing off once, and I've never set it off. Oh, I'm sorry, I thought I didn't have alcohol anymore. Because you have to wait like a whole next day. But so I just felt like she was very inconsiderate during this time that I was trying to be sober. And then so I finally cave in after, my things were moved from the car. And this is, me putting up with her and her sitting off the thing. So I'm like, I'm not going to drink, but when I have the thing in the car, that's like, that's ridiculous. Like, in the sense of like, because sometimes it was like a full next day before, like I would still set the thing off. I drank like I tried it one time, right before it got removed, I remember, and I was like, it was like a whole day, and I was like, I don't know on this thing. I don't know what the level is of like, I don't know how my level is, because I, didn't hold alcohol well, that it was not that, because it was like, we didn't drive, like we would I'd park in my sister's apartment and we would go out at night. I'd go out with her whether I was drinking or not. And then, but I'd still park the car because we walked. You walk everywhere. But I had a car that I would have to, in the morning, go to work in Vancouver. So if she convinced me to drink in the evening, I sometimes couldn't drive my car in the morning to work. And I was like, I'm fortunate that I know that I'm still a little bit over the limit, but I would never know that. You don't think it's the next day, And it's crazy because I did realize that it takes way longer than I thought for all the alcohol to get out of your system. And we weren't out late, it was like dinner, and maybe like 9 p.m. or something, And my sister's she was in college and stuff, and this was not like the fun part of college. She was now actually taking it serious. She was doing the Montessori part. She'd already spent her fun time in San Diego and Chico. Now she was taking it seriously. So she was, like where she has her little beer or whatever. But anyways, right after I start drinking, now when I don't have the thing in the car anymore, my family's like, oh, you shouldn't drink. So I get sober again right away. So I'd only had like a slip up for a short time. But then I kept slipping up because no one was very supportive, and all my friends were drinkers, and so it was very difficult. But I would have times that I would get sober, and it was difficult because people would be like, oh, be the DD now, and you're like, I'm trying to not drink. I don't really want to be like around everybody drinking. And but I would do it, and if I was ever the DD, I never drink alcohol, after my DUI, I never drank and drove, but like I said, unless I didn't know, like when it was, where it's past the time where you think you're like the next day, and you do find that out if you have one of those things in your car, that it's a long time before the alcohol all gets out of your system, enough for you to drive a car if you drink a lot, where I always overdo alcohol. So, if you only had one drink, you're probably fine. But me, I always have more than that. So, anyways, I have gone through a lot of like being sober and then not being sober for a short time and then having to get sober again. So I've had to go through like the cravings and the withdrawals probably more than most people, because every time that I've ever drank, I always knew it was not going to be long term, because I just know it's not good for me, and I do stupid things, and I usually somehow accidentally hurt myself and everything. So it's always a like short-lived thing, and so there's been so many times I've got, and I'm just glad that it's going to be the end this November, because I'm tired of going through withdrawals anymore. I'm 40 years old now, and I'm tired of the ups and downs and having to like be like white knuckling when you first get home. Where like right now I don't crave alcohol at all, but once I get to New York, it's like a different story. But when I come back from New York, I crave it every day for the first couple of days. You're like, oh, geez. And I don't keep in, but it's just like all you want to do. And you don't want to do anything else, too. You're just like, I want alcohol. And so you want, anything else? You want to watch TV? No, I want alcohol. You're just like, that's it. Your whole brain is, has become focused on that. That the first couple of days is just miserable. And so I'm just like, why do I keep doing this to myself? And so I'm actually feeling really excited that this will be the last trip. And I'm just excited that I'm still going. And maybe since it'll be about 50 days that I'm sober when I arrive, maybe I won't want to cave in and just be like, let me just have a really nice New York trip and have it be a sober New York trip. You know what I mean? I probably should get like some weed while I'm there, or something. Maybe do some gummies or something, because what really happens too is the longer I get away from my weed. So when I first leave, I do weed before I leave the house. I always like, this is my last bong hit, and we even do the concert, the bangers. Well, this is my last banger for like 12 days, and then I know, like, oh, I'm gonna get grumpier and grumpier each day, and I need to just maybe go buy some weed when I'm in New York, but I don't want to smoke it because for one thing, I really only do good at a bong, and I'm not going to bring a bong to New York. I'm in a hotel, and I'm not going to travel with that. We did used to travel with our bong during the pandemic because you can have them at some hotels, but I'm not going to deal with that. Some hotels do allow smoking, which is crazy. They're not really supposed to, but there are some hotels that still allow it. It's funny. They'll ask you, and you're like, it's not even allowed. Because I think you're not really supposed to allow it in any hotel. Oh, there's Jeremiah, my little hummingbird. He's all happy. He's got his little electrolyte juice. He gets so bummed when it gets low, and I wish you could like fill it as it got low, but they make you have it go all the way drained. Otherwise, you waste it. There's no way to remove it without spilling it really. I mean, maybe unless you're really good at it, but we always spill it. Because what happens is the bottom fills up. So it's got the other thing with something that's part of it. You think it's empty, but then there's all this bottom part that's got all this liquid, and it goes everywhere as you take the lid off. And I've made such a mess of it. But anyways, I think I'll maybe get some gummies in New York. That would help. Some like weed gummies at one of their nice dispensaries. They have really good weed there. It's just not cheap. Same with we were thinking about California might not be that much more expensive than Vegas, but we have a medical card here, so it felt really expensive to us because we had to pay like all the taxes and stuff because we did recreational. Where here we have a medical card, so they waive like one set of the taxes or something if you have a medical card. So you save quite a bit with each thing that you get, but it might be about the same price. I don't know. It's hard to know. It depends on, when you start going to a dispensary, you can figure out, their deals too. So usually every time you go to a dispensary, the first time you'll probably spend more because you didn't know what to get, They were not helpful at all in the California dispensaries. Richard went to 2. I went in 1 with him, and I was like, I'm not going to the other one. I just have no interest. I love weed, but I do not like dispensaries. And they should be cool because, it's weed, but the people there are just not that friendly. And they're not helpful in any way. They used to be very friendly here in Vegas, but the longer it's become legal, they're just like, you figure out what you want. I don't know. You don't know? Look it up online. You know what I mean? So Richard always asks a million questions, especially if it's a new dispensary because all this stuff's new. And you can just tell the guy's just getting more and more irritated. So I'm like, next time I'll just wait in the car. But the second place was a lot more affordable. So, I think it just depends on where the dispensary is too. Certain areas are going to be more expensive. But Vegas, I guess is kind of the same. But they seem to kind of be consistent prices, but you'll start to know which ones, like, especially you can get like these things where you sign up for the royalty or club things, or the VIP things, you get discounts. Anyways, Richard is he's at the store. I've been doing my organic beef, and I've been feeling really good about it, like just kind of like really getting more in like the flow of like eating healthy and not feeling cravings of sugar or alcohol in any way, like being more like in the routine. But Richard's been a lot more flexible. He's been eating like nuts and pork rinds, and today I made him some hot dogs, but they were organic hot dogs, and eggs and organic eggs. But I've been trying to stay a little bit more. I will eat steak, but even steak is very hard for me to digest because it's harder to digest, and that's a good thing in the sense of not for me. Okay, I'm thin enough, but like if you are trying to lose weight, it is good to have something that's hard to digest because you actually burn calories to digest it. But since I kind of mess with my body, I very much mess with my body with the years of eating disorders. My digestion is very bad. And that's probably the primary reason why I eat such a rigid diet is because I remember we were at a buffet. We used to go to buffets, yeah. So I don't talk too much about my eating disorder because it's not something that people, the community guidelines, they kind of don't like anyone to feel that you're trying to teach anyone anything. So we went to this place, and the lady realized what I was doing with my eating disorder, and this is the first time anyone had gone up to Richard because she saw, and she said, I just want to let you know what your wife is doing is very harmful to her, and she's going to not be able to digest. And I was so irritated by this because I was so embarrassed. But right after that, I did get healthy pretty soon after that, because that was actually almost I couldn't walk up the stairs anymore. But I remember it was very impactful. I was like, she's probably right, and it was ruined. For one thing, I took about 2 years of probiotics, like every kind of probiotic we could think of, for about 2 years, just to get like my kind of your levels back to normal. And then maybe about a year. I exaggerate sometimes. I don't mean to. I just forget. I'm getting old. I forget. I don't mean to exaggerate. My mom, I always thought she was exaggerating on purpose. But now, when you're old, you don't remember. Like you remember a bit, but you don't like accidentally like a year, 2 years. Like when you're young, that's insane. Because like a year in high school, or a year in elementary school, or a year in junior high, or even a year in college. But as you get older, you're like a year or 2 years. You're like, you know, they do start to blur together. So it's easier to say the wrong number, because time is a lot more like loosey-goosey as you get older. When you're young, it's like, I remember like each year is so impactful. You know, each birthday is so impactful. Now I don't care. When I turn 41, I don't care. I'm not upset or happy. I don't really care. It's like, whatever. It is what it is. It's another birthday. I haven't liked my birthdays. I mean, I like my birthdays now in the sense of like, I'm not unhappy, but for many years I was unhappy because my dad left right before my 7th birthday, like a week before my 7th birthday, and it kind of traumatized me. And then I never, like, so every year I didn't like birthdays after that, from the time I was 7, because he'd already like been out of the house, but he officially left. Like he had already kind of like been, my mom and him were kind of a little bit separated, but I didn't know as a kid, so like he officially left, because he'd been with my stepmom since I was 6, and I'd known her since I was 4, but she was from the church. Imagine that, I had an affair in the church. But he officially left like the week before my 7th birthday, and he left just a gift. It was a stuffed animal. It was a teddy. No, it wasn't a teddy bear. It was a dog. It was a big dog, like a really big, flappy ear, like really big, like for a little kid, like bigger than a kid usually. Like I was only, so it's probably taller than me. Huge stuffed animal. He left it on the front porch, and that was like, he didn't see me for my birthday or anything. And I remember that was like, I don't know. I never liked birthdays after that, because it's funny, as a kid, things can really like now when I think about it, it's like, your dad left, get over it. But as a kid, those things are way more impactful. And it did suck, because we saw him at first for a bit, because he stayed in Northern California for the first couple years, when my parents first got divorced. But then at some point, I think it was when I was 10. So yeah, for about 3 years, he stayed in Northern California, and then when I was 10, they moved to Southern California, and then I really didn't like, because I would only see my dad like twice a year, but I would spend most of the summer with him, so I would see him for a good amount of time, but then it would be a long amount of time before I'd see him again, if that makes sense. So, and my dad's not the best with the phone, so as a child, it was hard because I didn't see my dad that much, but then when I did get to see him, we had a great time, if that makes sense, because I would spend like 2.5 months or 3 months with my dad over the summer, and like the entire time, in Los Angeles, and that's when I would like do a lot of boogie boarding and stuff, and so that's when I spent my most time in Los Angeles, was from 10 to 16. Oh, so actually they lived there a long time. I didn't realize that. Yeah. I had to think about that. And then when I was 16, I actually moved to Southern California, and moved in with my dad. But I didn't like that. It was not my intention. I wanted to move with my sister to San Diego. And I kind of dumped off. She's like, I don't think I can take care of you. She was like in college, and I was still in high school. But I wasn't liking Northern California, and so I wanted to kind of like, I don't know, do something different. And so I moved to Southern California, but then I didn't like that at the time. So it's just interesting when you're young. But now, like, I love Southern California. But then I went, but I mean, I think I liked Southern California. I just didn't like my stepmom. But I do think I didn't like all the traffic, because there was a lot more traffic where we were, so it was going to be like a commute wherever I went. I didn't really want that, so I ended up going in the Air Force, and 9/11 had happened too. But now when I go back, I'm like, I really did love LA. Like I kind of forgot, because I did spend a lot of years there, like over the summers with my dad, before I moved there, because I only lived there for like a year. of actually like living there day in and day out, you know. But I would live there for like 3 months at a time, so it would feel like I lived there. And I did miss California, and I think I didn't want to go back. I don't know if I was even ready to go back, because it is sad for me to go to California, because that's, you know, where I grew up, and that's where where I spent the time with my mom. I didn't spend time with my mom in New York. She's just from New York. But I spent time with my mom in California, so California was a little bit of a hard thing. When I would go there, I would feel sad because I would, you know, think of my mom. But now I'm getting to the space where I had, you know, little tears, but it wasn't like a ball or anything. And then I moved on, and then I was like happy to be back in California. But it has been since 2012, and I was only there for a night with me and Rich. We drove through California. We didn't even stay in California. We didn't even stay. We just drove through from Oregon down to Vegas. This was in October 2012. We drove that car for Gloria, the other Mercedes, because that was Richard's Mercedes. And then when we decided to move to Panama, Gloria had totaled her. She had some Toyota, like Avalon or something, or the one that Solara or something. The one that's the 2-door, but it's like a 4-seater, but like a 2-door. I forget what they're called. But anyways, I think they call it Solara or something like that. Solano or something. I don't know. Solara. And Gloria totaled it when I first became part of the family in 2012 when I first started dating Rich. But then, you know, we got married in 2014. But we were in Portland, and Gloria was in Portland at first, and then this house got broken into, and Annette was here by herself. It's crazy to think. I didn't know the family, so I didn't know this was a crazy thing. Annette was here all by herself for several months, and then the house got broken into because Annette was letting people in. Not like that. We're in a nice neighborhood, but like she was letting people that were probably not the best people. She was, you know, hanging with the best crowds because she, you know, would just walk with the streets, probably bringing, you know, transient people. So they stole a bunch of stuff from the house, and she called, you know, Gloria all upset about it, and then Gloria came back, and then so Gloria had been with her, and so me and Richard were still in Portland. But then that's when we didn't know what we were going to do. We didn't know if we were going to move to Vegas or whatever, or stay in Portland. But then that's when we decided to move to Panama. But we weren't even going to move to Panama. We were going to go there for just a certain amount of time. But then we ended up staying there a year. But then we want to live there forever. But we had a great time. But once we lived for a year in Panama, it was pretty much like guaranteed we were going to stay together. Because even though we'd only been together for about a year and a half when we came back from Panama, that year in Panama was so impactful that I was like, yeah, we're definitely getting married, you know. And so, and even just the thought of ever getting divorced, like, we've just been through so much together. We get mad and we'll say it, because, I don't know, people. So maybe some married people never say that. Me and Richard do, you know, we'll say it. When we're really, really angry, but we don't ever mean it. And some people never say it out here. We're ranters, as you guys have seen. We say things that we don't mean. That rhymed. And I do want to work on that, because I don't like saying things that I don't mean. Because then people are like, why do you say that? That was really mean if you didn't mean it. You know, I was trying to be mean. Like when you're angry, like, I want to be mean. I want to hurt this person's feelings when you're really upset. And I don't like being like that. But yeah, so when we were in Portland, and then Gloria wrecked the car here. So first the house was broken into. This is back in 2012. And then, but not really broken into, it was like Annette let the people in the house, and then they took everything. So more like robbed, not really broke into. Vandalized, whatever it was, when you let the people in, they were Annette's friends that were not the best of people. And so then Gloria came back and wrecked the car, and so we drove that Mercedes, the older one, the 2012, what was it? I don't remember. E320. It was Richard's car, and we said, well, let's just give it to Gloria since we're going to Panama. And I still had a car. I had this little 1995 little Lexus. It was like this, like the 300 ES or whatever. This is the little basic one, the cheapest Lexus you get. I paid like $2,600 for it used. So I still had that. So we did have two cars. So we're like, we can give Gloria the Mercedes, and we'll just drive the Lexus till we go to Panama. And then we sold my Lexus for like $1,500. It was like, it needed new tires and everything. It was going out. We drove before we left Portland. So we drove from Portland to Nevada, the car, and then we flew back to Portland before we flew to Panama. It was like, I think it was maybe like about a couple weeks, and then we flew to Panama. But in that time we drove around my little car, and then we sold that like a day or two before we left. Probably the day before, because you really do need a car in Portland. For if you're not, if you're like if you're going to the bars, you can walk, but like if you're trying to get things that are like more affordable, because things that you can walk to, are more expensive. So if you want to go, like me and Richard would shop at Winco, the closer store was much more expensive, so and then I was working in Vancouver until I quit my job to go to Panama, so I needed a car to go all the way to Vancouver. So we used the car quite a bit in Portland. So I think we sold it like the day before we went to Panama, and then we took a taxi to the airport, which we almost missed because we'd been drinking the night before we decided to embark to Panama. We decided to drink the night before, and we almost missed our flight. And luckily we had called, so this is back before Uber, so we had called a taxi to make sure that it would, because in Oregon, taxis were not very reliable in the sense of like you couldn't just call one and think it was going to come soon. It could take a long time. So we reserved one ahead of time, and we'd set all these alarms, but like we'd slept through them, and luckily like the taxi guy kept calling our phone is the only thing that got us up. But then we were like, we were pretty good packed, but like not fully, and I'm like, oh my God, we're throwing everything in, and I don't even know if we had showered or not. I don't think we even got to shower, and we just have to like jump in because the guy's already downstairs. Like I was expecting us to wake up like an hour or two early and get ready and do all this stuff, and we're like leaving for good. You know what I mean? So like we have like a lot of things we have to take care of, and we have things we have to leave because we had left furniture in the house that we had someone coming to get the furniture. We had to leave keys, and there was all these things that we had to do, and we're like, oh my gosh, the taxi's downstairs. And he's like getting so mad because he's already been waiting. It was a mess, but it was a good trip. We had a great time, and I'm just kind of waiting for Rich to come back. I'm running out of kind of things to say. I do have a thing of like a limit. People always think I can talk forever. Richard thinks I can talk quite a bit, quite a lot, but I do have a point where I do get tired of talking, and it's kind of where like my brain kind of stops thinking of like new things, and then I'll just kind of like go in circles. And that's when I go, okay, I'm done blogging. But I'm loving this weather. It feels like LA weather. And this time of year it does. And that's why people do like Vegas, because there are certain times of year that the weather does feel a lot like LA. And it can trick you if you come during those times. You're like, oh, this is fabulous. But when you come during the heat of summer, it's not at all like LA. Oh my gosh. And I remember my first year in Vegas, I literally thought I was melting. Like I was like, this is unbearable. Like I did not like it at all. And we parked our car outside, which was, it gets so hot. And you can do the shades and all, but it just doesn't help. And it gets so hot in there. So as soon as you get in there, the AC can't, and there were older cars. This was, before we had this car, the first one we had was in 1997 when we first got back to Vegas. Gloria still kept the Mercedes, so me and Rich bought this, it was 1997 Infiniti Q45 for $1,500. That was our first car, but it was not the best. But that car would get so hot in there, and it had leather seats, and it would just bake, and the AC did not work well at all. So you would just be burning up, and I'd be trying to, in a nice dress, and I'm just soaked in sweat by the time you get to the casino, and it's terrible. And then our second car was a 2002 Infiniti Q45, which we sold that first one for like $1,000, and then we got another one for like $4,000. So those were our first cars in Vegas, but neither of them had great AC. And I think one of them didn't have heat. Oh, the first one didn't have heat, which actually you think you don't need in Vegas, but there are certain times of year that it's pretty cold if you don't have heat, and especially if you go out late night. And it's very little times, it's only like a couple months that's really cold, and it's not that cold, but it can get pretty cold when it's cold. Not like New York cold. But anyways, I keep saying anyways. I say that way too much. Yes, that could be a drinking game if people drink. How many times does Joy say anyways? You're not supposed to say if you're speaking. Like, those professionals don't do that on the news. I don't know how they do that. They're good at it. Well, they're reading teleprompters most of the time. Anyways, it's harder when you're trying to think of something to say. I mean, I'm not saying it's harder than reading a teleprompter. I'm sure that's difficult too. I'm just saying it's different where you might not have to say because you're reading, where I say the to like think of another thought. You know, as you're talking, you gotta think of another thought for, otherwise you have nothing to say. But see, so you say it's a little placeholder. We're watching baseball right now. Well, I was before I started blogging, so I don't know. I'm sure the Mariners game is over. I hope they won. I don't think they did. I was feeling to bet for. I only did $2 bets, but I did a parlay where I just picked which team I thought was going to win for each game today. And if they mess up, now my thing is already done. If the Marlins didn't win, which I don't think they did, because when I came outside it was 7-3, which should have been 3-0 Marlins, and then all of a sudden, Detroit just took off. But I'm mad because earlier today I said I want to pick Detroit. But then I was like, man, the Marlins are doing so good because they have some really good players like Cal Raleigh, I think is his name, and then the Naylor guy, I forget his first name. Is it Brandon? I forget his first name. Naylor. They're really good players, and I'm like, I don't really want to bet against them. But no, Detroit's killing them, so I don't know. But I don't know. The game's probably over, so I don't know. Maybe the Marlins won. But if they lost, then my whole bet's done. Because there's games that are later, but now my bet's already over. I'm going to watch them, though, because I enjoy watching whether I have a bet or not. It's like $2. I don't even know how much I could win with that one. Probably at most $20. It's probably more like 10. You need like really complicated things to get like the expensive. Like we were so mad the other day because like I got my home run and I got a hit. I got like 2 of the hits, but the home run is like the hard one. But then I didn't get like the pitcher thing and like one other hit. And like Richard did the same thing we did with the NFL football. He bet on who was going to get the touchdown, and he bet on Travis Kelce to get the touchdown, and he did. But then he got several other things. But then he missed like something that was like a smaller thing. You're like, easy things. You could have just left those off. You don't have to add, you know what I mean? But when you get the hard thing and not the easy things on your bet, you're annoyed. Like getting the home run and the touchdowns and picking who's getting the home run and touchdown. That's the thing, not just getting a home run and touchdown. Picking which player is getting the home run or touchdown is so significant because there's players that get touchdowns or home runs often, but to pick which game they're going to get it is actually not as easy as you think. You think, that guy gets it every game. Yeah, until you start betting on it. And then you realize he doesn't get it every game. Gets it once in a while. But someone might, like everyone usually, football, you have to have someone get it. I guess they don't have to get a touchdown. They don't have to get touchdowns. They could just get field goals. You can have games without touchdowns. And that happens often. So you can end up, if you bet on a touchdown, then no touchdown even occurs in the whole game. But I can't wait for us to get back. I'm ready to go inside. It's actually probably is it getting close to dinner time? Sometimes I eat an early dinner. So I did my breakfast and lunch, but I'm doing my protein, and then I'm gonna have my dinner of protein, burgers. And when we go to LA, we've been, fighting ways to make sure whether it's buy a little grill or something where we can cook our burgers. And so we want to stay on our protein while we're in LA. Whereas New York, it's getting hard. It's a little more embarrassing. The LA hotel's a little more flexible. They're bigger. You get a bigger room. You often have some sort of maybe a little sink or some sort of little kitchenette or whatever. And definitely usually a fridge. Whereas in New York, you might not even have a fridge. You might have a pretty small room. And when you're cooking in this tiny room, it's kind of when they come in and you're like, the one room I didn't end up cooking in because it was a small room where you walk in and it's kind of just like your bed, and then you got like a closet and like a dresser, but like not a lot of space, those ones. And I was like, man, it's gonna be and the window opened, but it was gonna infumigate the room pretty strong. Where when I've had like bigger rooms, so it makes a big difference in LA. The rooms are much larger, at least for what we've experienced so far. I'm sure there's areas that they have very small rooms too, but the Manhattan rooms can be very tiny. But I'm sure there's parts in LA that have tiny, tiny rooms too. But so far from what we've experienced from the 3 that we looked at, because we stayed at 1, but we looked at 2 before. We actually looked at their rooms. We said, can we look at your room before we decided to get this? And they were all 3 very large rooms. And for a very good price, like way cheaper than I pay in New York. So it just seems like this is just the smartest thing to do. I mean, it's going to be cheaper for the whole travel, and I get to go with Rich, and we get to go to the beach, which I am getting a little bit tired of going to New York, even though I love New York. Don't get me wrong, I love New York. I love it, but there is no beach there. I mean, there is, but like it's much more of a thing to go to the beach in New York, and it's usually cold. But also, like, there, if you want to go to like a warmer beach, when it is warmer there, you gotta have a car, or pretty much I would think you'd need a car, because you gotta go like usually like way out on Long Island to get to like a nice beach. Whereas, you know, you see the water there, but you're not like sitting out there, you know, sunbathing. So I'm enjoying that it's a transition of something different, and then it'll probably just be a year or less, and then it'll transition to something else, and then by that time I think Rich will be doing something. So kind of, you know, I'm transitioning my way out, but I'm really happy that we're having this time in between of the traveling, because, you know, once I stop doing this, we're not going to be traveling. We'll just stay here. It doesn't mean, I mean, because me and Richard are not touristy people. We travel only if it's necessary, even though we enjoy it, but we find traveling to be very expensive. So we're making it the most affordable with the driving to LA and, you know, bringing in everything that we need and shopping at the grocery store instead of eating out. But New York is very expensive, and I'm often having to eat out there or get, you know, food delivery or something with them. Those I try to get the gift cards, but sometimes, you know, Richard will order me the burgers and the steak for the food delivery, and then those just get so expensive, because we do the food delivery because it's a pain in the neck for me to try to get to that steakhouse, which is the one I like, but then they check on, you know, the delivery fees and all that stuff, and so you're paying more for everything. So I try not to do that. I try to make my burgers there, but I can't always do that, and, you know, or even if I'm buying those halal gyros or whatever, or kebabs, it does add up each day. You know, the little things, and then when I drink alcohol, or so, and then just the travel, and then the hotels are super expensive. So it's just going to be so much better, and I'm really happy about it. So I know I talk about this stuff a lot, but it is my life. I mean, and that's all we've been doing is, you know, we do what we do here, which is pretty routine. You know, I take care of the household guy, you know. Oh, there he is! Yay! I've been waiting for you to get back so bad. I was like, oh yeah, put that. Oh, you don't need to show me. That's good. Just put that in the fridge. He got me my beef. Thank you. I'll put it away if you want. Yeah, just put it over there. But you just come back over here. He's got me my beef. So that is good. I'm so ready. Yeah, you come to the blog. I'm running out of things to say. I'm literally like, I've exhausted the amount of things that I did. The Marlins. Oh no, wait, Marlins or Mariners? Mariners.
Detroit won.
Sorry, not Marlins. Mariners.
Detroit won.
I said Marlins earlier. It's the Mariners. Sorry.
Detroit won.
I knew they were gonna, and I bet for the opposite way. I hate when I do that. Are you coming to sit here?
Yeah, I'll come. You can move the chair though. I'm just gonna do my nunchuck.
Okay.
5 minutes.
Yeah, that would be great. Here, take this microphone. Here you go. Thanks, everybody. I had a great time. You guys had a good time, too.
Good. Well, I know. Let's look at that water.
Any water?
Yeah. Thanks. Hey, what up, chat? What up, guys?
Thank you for shopping.
Yeah. Thanks for keeping Joy entertained today while I got some errands done. She really appreciates it. And I do too. Okay. Now let's do my mini workout here.
It's very expensive, and I'm often.
All right. Oh, you know, this is good for the joints, you know. It really works muscles that you don't otherwise work out. And once in a while you get your wrist. Yeah, so it's been quite a day, you know. We've been enjoying ourselves. It's got kind of a nice little healthy routine of going to the pool in the morning, and got Annette some. Just went and did the shopping for the ladies. I have to go to 2 stores because Joy likes her meat from a certain store, and then it's more expensive over at Sprouts than it is over at Smith's. So we go to Kroger Smith's for most of the groceries, and then we go to Sprouts where we get, she wants her ground beef from there. And then that's where I was talking about the hot dogs that I was mentioning. You guys never heard of Nathan's hot dogs? Those are pretty good. They have an uncured, Nathan's has an uncured one, as does Hebrew National. Those are all really good, but not compared to this organic Applegate uncured hot dog that I got at Sprouts today. That's really good. And then I also got some, I don't know, some sausage or something. Can't remember. Something good. Hopefully pretty good. All right, guys. All this talk about food, I'm getting hungry. All right. Jason, what's up? You're supposed to what? Hold them close. I know. But that's only if you really want to get them whipping, you know. You see, but if you hold them out here, check it out. See, that's when you want to you want to get that centripetal. But you see, when I do that, it barely does anything as far as working my muscles. You know what I mean? So it's great as a weapon. I get it. That's the way to do it. Or these were originally hedge cutters, like a weed whacker. So great. But the thing is, when you put it like this, then you get this full motion. Yeah, I realize it's probably not in combat. In combat, these would be useless because they would just use a gun. So, anyways, but for these purposes, which is just for exercising, for theatrics, you know, you get a lot more. First of all, it feels a lot heavier because, you know, the longer it is, it's like a lasso, you know. So the longer it is, the heavier it is. So, this arm's really sore over here. I don't know why. I think just lifting the bong so much, maybe. Is that a thing? Snoop, have you ever heard of that? Yeah, so when you hold it way at the end, you get a lot more. Okay, I asked you guys this yesterday. Did anybody look it up? Is it centripetal? Is it centrifugal or centripetal? Centrifugal or centripetal force? So whichever it is, when you hold it like this, because it's bigger, and you're back here further, and this shaft is longer. Oh my gosh, it's like a 5-pound weight, but there's no weight on it. It's just the force. You know, and that's where I say the force flows through you when you use these. And also, I don't even think you're supposed to use 2 of them. So back to your theory of like the correct way to use these, I'm not sure if 2 of them is even effective. This is just because it's good exercise. What do you think? Oh, I feel pretty good anyways. What's up, Carl Sandberg? I use 2, I know. Always, it's like a throuple over here. Okay. Come on, guys. You're not supposed to use 2. It's a silly movie thing. I've never even actually seen anyone use 2. Now there are martial arts tools that are very similar to these. But they have, instead of, it has like one stick here and then over here on the end, it has like something on the end. I don't know. Thanks, Carl. You're awesome. We've known each other for over a year now, huh? Come on, guys. Let's go play some guitar. Okay. Thank you guys for bringing in all the groceries. Appreciate it. Ah. Hey, yeah, double tap that screen. Hit the likes, guys. Do I know Stairway to Heaven? I think it was like one of the first songs I ever learned to play. Of course, I haven't played it in a very, very long time. Let me get comfortable. Okay. Everybody hear me okay? Good. I think Joy's pretty excited about LA. You know, she spent every summer as a kid there with her dad. I think she has some fond memories of going there. So I think it was good that we went back there, like from a, just from a journey perspective, from a life.
Oh, I'm still bringing them water.
Oh.
I got 2 more.
Okay, I bought all those because guess what? They ran out again, and they're not. It doesn't look like they're bringing them back. So. Oh, close the door. Okay, come on in.
I gotta get one more thing.
Okay, you stay there then. Okay, Joy needs access to the room, so. You get the idea. I think Carl's her boyfriend. Carl is her boyfriend, and this is so that's when she comes on here. You get the All right. Oh man, what a day, what a day, what a day, what a day. Okay guys, I am about ready for dinner myself. Thanks for hitting those likes, really appreciate it. Tell you what, I'm gonna watch some baseball. Oh, we got hockey tonight. We got the Knights, Vegas Knights versus LA Kings. I'm not sure which one I want to take. I'm really liking LA these days. So I might have to root for the Kings this season. I'm not sure. What do you guys think? Is that fickle of me? My love is rocking to the core. Yeah, you know it. Okay, cool. Cool. Hey, Carl Sandburg, let's play some music together. Man, that'd be cool. It's been a long time since I played some musicians. I used to play with some rappers, and then also I used to know some singers. And back when I was a kid, I used to do a lot of stuff. Oh. Carl, so good to see you again. Anyways, listen, I'm gonna check out. I'm gonna go get myself some dinner. And